Channel. Since the beginning of the year, the world economy has experienced so many significant changes, affecting even developing economies like Vietnam. To know more about that, today we have a talk with Mr. Marco Walter, the Chief Representative of German Industry and Commerce Vietnam. Thank you, Mr. Walter. Welcome to Shine Vietnam. So first of all, what is your opinion about the development of the world's economy since the beginning of 2016 till now?
I think so far the world economy was evolving broadly, and all the advanced economies in the world were really slow and like a lackluster. And the first exciting thing we had in June with the Brexit, with the vote of the British people. And from this event everything changed a bit, and now we have a completely new situation.
Since the beginning of 2016, while the European economy has declined, some Asian economies have had good performance. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think what we see in Europe now, it's a slowdown, and then we had this Brexit event, yeah, with really significant influences also for the future, short term, but also long term, we will see. And we have also some strong countries like Germany, for example, with a certain growth. But you're absolutely right that the engine of the world economy now and also in the near future will be this region here, Asia Pacific. And I think that's very good and very nice that we have this really increasing development here in this region.
The US and EU, especially Germany, have been among the biggest exporting markets of Vietnam. As these two economies slow down, how will that affect exporting activities of Vietnamese enterprises?
The US, but also Germany, are really reliable markets, very sustainable. And you're right, we see a certain slowdown, but still on a high level. So, for example, Germany will grow, so the forecast for this year is a growth of 1.7%, and also next year 1.4%. So we still have a growth, and this is a very good message and still good opportunities also for Vietnamese companies. We will see some effects very short term, but in a long-term perspective, Germany and also the US are really sustainable. Both countries and both markets are still very interesting for Vietnamese companies. And I think really Vietnamese companies should invest more in their export business to this, and especially from my German perspective, in the German market.
The Economist magazine had just published an article titled "Vietnam's Economy, the Other Asian Tiger," written about the achievements gained recently as well as the potential of Vietnam's economic development. The Economist says, with the population of over 90 million people, since 1990 until now, Vietnam has recorded the second fastest average GDP growth rate in the world, only after China. If we can continue to maintain the growth rate of 7% over the next decade, Vietnam would follow the path of development similar to the Asian tigers like South Korea and Taiwan. Growth in the first 6 months of 2016 is although at a higher rate than that of the same period in 2012-2014, but has shown signs of slowing down compared to 6.32% growth in the first 6 months of 2015. This shows that the Vietnam's economy have been performing lower after the first year of overcoming economic slope. With slow growth, to achieve 6.7% GDP growth in 2016, the last 6 months rate needed to reach 7.6%.
Tôi cũng cho rằng là khó khăn trong cái bối cảnh là chỉ số giá thế giới đang có cái xu hướng giảm, cũng như là cái thị trường xuất khẩu cũng bị tác động, đặc biệt là trước một số các cái sự kiện về bất ổn địa chính trị cũng như là cái sự kiện Brexit, thì có thể là cũng sẽ làm cái tốc độ tăng trưởng xuất khẩu của Việt Nam trong những tháng cuối năm có thể chậm lại, và cũng khó có thể đạt được cái mục tiêu là tăng khoảng 10% trong năm nay. Đặc biệt là qua theo dõi tăng trưởng kinh tế của quý 1 cũng như là 6 tháng đầu năm trong 5 năm qua thì sẽ thấy được là cái việc khi mà chỉ tiêu tăng trưởng của quý 1 cũng như là của quý 2 của cả năm quý 2 và 6 tháng đầu năm mà không đạt đến mức 6% thì là cái tăng trưởng cả năm khó có thể đạt được cái mục tiêu là 6,7%.
The agriculture, forestry and fisheries in the first 6 months of 2016 was lower compared to the same period last year, mainly due to the agricultural sector fell 0.78%, with the winter-spring rice production this year reached only 19.4 million tons, down 1.3 million tons, 6.4%, compared to the 2015 winter-spring season. Drought situation in the Mekong Delta is the main cause leading to the decline in rice production. Many economic experts said if the drought situation in the Mekong Delta continued, the agricultural sector will suffer severe consequences.
Từ đầu năm nó có những cái diễn biến bất thường mà không lường trước được, cho nên tôi cho rằng cái khó khăn đó là nó có thể gây ra cái khó khăn trong thực hiện GDP, tốc độ tăng trưởng nói chung. World Bank, IMF và các tổ chức đều giảm tốc độ tăng trưởng các nước, và ngay cả Fed cũng không dám là điều chỉnh lãi suất, cũng là một tín hiệu cho thấy như là nó cũng là phải tình hình khó khăn.
With economic growth a target of 6.7% in 2016, to achieve the goal on the last 6 months, economic growth GDP needs to achieve at a high level. This is a challenge for difficult context of Vietnam's economy in 2016, requires major efforts from the government with macroeconomic policies and the active participation of the private sector.
Vietnam is among the top 5 countries most vulnerable to climate change. Earlier this year, Vietnam's Mekong Delta was hit with the worst drought in 90 years. How will this affect the development of Vietnam's agriculture and economy in general?
Yeah, right. This is really a big challenge for Vietnam, and especially also for the people in the Mekong Delta. I think we will see these changes, these climate changes. And now the people and also the decision maker, they should start it already to think how to create this change of structures. I think we will see some switches maybe from agriculture more to aquaculture. The Mekong Delta region, they will also lose maybe 5% of the whole land. That means the area for growing plants, fruits and so on will decrease, and it can be also a chance that Vietnam and especially also the people in the Mekong Delta are not anymore only exporters of the raw materials. I think they should more focus and more invest in the food processing industry, and to bring everything in a higher level, which means also a better education for the people and also more investment in machineries and equipment in the packaging industry, and this can be also a chance.
The World Bank forecasts Vietnam's economic growth to be 6%, while the country's GDP increased only 5.55% in the first half of 2016. So will it be challenging for Vietnam to reach the target of 6% growth?
Yeah, it can be challenging, of course, but honestly, from my personal point of view, we should not work only with the numbers. But regarding the numbers, I'm always optimistic, and I really think that Vietnam will reach this 6% also this year. But more important is the long-term perspective, that now they can change the structure in a good way, that this growth, name it 5.5%, 6%, 7%, will be really sustainable and create also a growth for the next years, so for 3 years, 5 years. So important is to have the right direction, and I think this is more important than discuss about 0.5% today or tomorrow and so on. So important is the long-term perspective.
What can the government do to support the development of Vietnam's economy?
First of all, to make the Vietnamese companies able and also prepare for international business. So to increase their competitiveness, that to meet the international standards. Yeah, we will see the ASEAN Economic Community, we have the free trade agreement with the European Union, the Trans-Pacific Partnership will come, and that means a lot of opportunities for Vietnamese companies, but also it's a challenge because Vietnam has to open up the market. We will see the products from Thailand, from Philippines, from Singapore and so on, with a very high quality and also reasonable prices. And here Vietnamese companies, they have to do a lot to reach the same level. And what is important for German investors is still the investment in the people, in education. I think this is the most important thing, and the Vietnamese government really has to invest.
What is the plan of GIC and AHK in Vietnam in the future?
Yeah, first of all, we want to create a bilateral chamber of industry and commerce. Right now we have a German Business Association, we have our organization, but for us Germans it's very essential that we can work bilateral. So we want to create a German-Vietnamese Chamber of Industry and Commerce that, of course, we are promoting and supporting German companies coming to Vietnam, but it's also important to support Vietnamese companies going to Germany and to Europe in total. And this is one of our nearest goals, to create this bilateral body. And of course we will work on educational training, the vocational training programs, because to attract German companies to invest in Vietnam, this is the first question. I can find enough people and also educated and trained people. This is really essential, and this is more important than tax incentives and land use rights and so on. Staff, people, this is the most important thing.
Thank you, Mr. Walder, for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much to you at first. And of course, thank you very much, and have a nice time in the future.
We're coming to the end of Sharing Vietnam on